Gentlemen, my name is Integer and welcome to yet another Failblog episode. I've had a few attempts of recording this, however they all kept falling short simply because I didn't have a frame cap on WoW. My system couldn't handle a steady, 60 frames per second, and it had a very big variance of it, potentially dropping to, low 20s even at points, whilst the majority of that running above 50, and because of that I think even converting the footage would still not be able to maintain that constant FPS, even though supposedly it should. So what I've done, I've used Riva Tuner, the little extra app that comes with MSI Afterburner, to cap it outside the game, or cap by settings outside of the game to 30. So if I do didn't mean to minimize, go back in, Control R, yes. So we see cap is at 30, doesn't go above 30. Hopefully that would allow us with a bit smoother performance, as well as me being able to have this video without any audio sync issues. That would be great, wouldn't it? So while I talk about a few things that I've been willing to address for, well, almost 2 weeks now, I will be running around doing some mining. Just need to get some more tin and maybe some silver. They're thrown in for good measure for my Blood Elf Hunter, that's the class, and my mining and engineering professions. So, few things on the agenda today, and let me start with saying that I've decided to upgrade my PC, and this really shouldn't come as a surprise. Well, it was a surprise to myself, but it never should have been, simply because what I set out to do when I restarted my YouTube after moving to this flat and after realizing I can't get the internet to stream, that after also selling my old PC, I will focus on budget gaming, and that's all good and dandy. However, gaming on a budget system and making content about gaming on the budget system are two slightly different matters that require different levels of hardware. Whereas on gaming on a budget system, you just need a gaming PC, whatever budget it is that your limits lie, and you just game on it. You know, you make certain sacrifices for graphical fidelity and performance, but, you game on it nonetheless. Making content about that on a budget system as well is much more limiting. Therefore, as have I, you would also run into issues like highly variable FPS footage that, for instance, Premiere Pro, the program that I used to edit my videos with, cannot deal with it, so I have to convert it. Even converted footage then can't deal with it after the conversion, because I think, and this is still a hypothesis, that initial frame variance is just too great and it can't, push certain frames down and certain parts of the video up and certain parts of the video down to maintain a constant one. There's another node right there. We'll see if we can climb it this way. And also, rendering times are quite big. 10-15 minute video can take anywhere between 15-20 minutes to up to an hour. Sometimes it seems to slow down even further for the reasons that elude me. I'm not saying that they're not explainable. However, I don't have an explanation for it. I tried researching it as to why. Potentially the processor is so clogged. Don't forget I'm still running a dual core processor, and all these issues, potentially most of them are not even issues, just more hindrances, if you may, led me to realize I need to upgrade. And so I have all the parts, and I've already installed my new graphics card, which is an AMD R9 290X. I'll have to kill this bear, won't I? That's fine. And it's a 4 gig graphics card. Is very, very, very decent money. I got it for £130, and it also came with a custom water cooler attached to it, Corsair H90. Now the problem was I couldn't fit that thing anywhere in my case, as the cooler is, or the radiator itself rather, is 14 centimeters sized, whereas my case only support 12 centimeter fans and or coolers, sorry, radiators. Therefore, I had to remove that and temporarily install the reference cooler, which the auction also included. I bought it off eBay, as you may have understood by now. And that thing makes the card run pretty hot. That was a known issue for R9, the first generation R9s. At peak times with relatively decent fan speeds, and what I mean by that, not too high, because when you run those fans above 60%, it literally sounds like there's a plane taking off in your room. So running it with under 60% capacity, it would still reach temperatures of 85 and 90 degrees. I don't have any monitoring software running on my screen right now, but I would say it's sitting about 80, 85 at the very least. And well, whilst that's not a big issue, I mean, technically AMD always said those cards were supposed to handle those heats pretty well under constant, or should I say constantly. You know, it's still a very high temperature that's inside of your PC, and in the long terms it's never a beneficial thing to have. So I'm also looking into getting a new case, however that will have to wait for the next payday. However, another two parts that I got is a processor. I got a new processor and then AMD FX 8300. I was able to pick that up in the States for $100, which I think is a really good price. It's an 8-core Vishera AMD processor that is clocked at 3.3 gigahertz if I'm not mistaken, and its boost bumps it up to 4.1. Even if I can run it at 4.1, as in turn the boost on and leave it on constantly, that would be, I think, a very beneficial increase. At least theoretically. Practically, how much difference would that make, I'm not too sure, but, you know, on paper at least it looks good and sounds good. And I also bought a motherboard, a budget Asus motherboard, and I think that is the problem, because I came back, I tried installing it, and I was getting no visual output. There seemed to be no posting, no beeping errors, but also no video output. At first I suspected my graphics card, because I had installed my new AMD graphics card at the same time. However, when I replaced it with my old NVIDIA 1050, there was still no video output, and I realized that potentially it's the motherboard, and those suspicions were strengthened even further when I installed FX 6300, the processor that I've already had and that I'm saving for a build that I want to make for my dad. Therefore, that was unfortunate. Basically $40 spent and wasted. I can't return it. I mean, I'm in the UK. Sending it back would probably cost close, if not more, that amount, and I'm still not sure if refund policies covering bringing the item outside of the United States. You know, that would not really be surprising to me whatsoever. So I've decided just to take the hit and buy a new one, and I've got an MSI 970 G43 Plus is the full name of the model. Looks pretty fancy. I've got it sitting next to me, and I do need to install it. I'm planning on installing it later today after I record the footage for this video. And I think I'm running back into Silver Pine Forest, and will not be getting any tin or silver veins here, so I'm gonna be returning this way. Open up map. Yeah, I'm back in Silver Pine, rather. So yeah, that's hardware news. The next piece of information that I would like to share with you is that if you've seen my video on it, the talk on Nier, or thoughts on Nier Automata, you probably already know what I think of that game, but I've sunk further 10 or 11 hours, totaling at about 12 right now, and my god, that game was awesome. It did not disappoint whatsoever. To be honest though, I was waiting for it, however I didn't have any expectations, if you may. I just really wanted to play it because it seemed something that's a bit unusual for myself, but very appealing and interesting nonetheless. And yeah, that game is just fantastic. What's even better is that even on a dual-core Intel G3258 clocked at 4 gigahertz, it's running very, very well. Apparently the game is locked at 60 frames per second, and even at 1080p it still downscales to 900p, which is apparently a known little bug of sorts that's still to be addressed to the best of my knowledge. However, that really does not bother me one bit, and overall I am so happy with that game's performance, let alone the gameplay. The game itself is just fantastic. I'm having so much fun playing it, but I just wanted to highlight how well it's running. Granted, that potentially is much more GPU heavy than CPU, and my GPU, now having received an upgrade to R990X, should have no problems even at the highest settings with it. I'm playing roughly medium with I think one or two slightly higher. The settings menu or graphical settings menu in that game is very minimal. You only have like 3 or 4 adjustable options in there. But yeah, I've received no hindrances in performance whatsoever with my dual-core processor, and that's really good news, which is also a very different experience to what a lot of people are having right now, it seems, because a lot of players have been reporting a lot of performance issues, high-end and low-end machines alike. So I think I'm just one of those lucky few that pretty much have had no problems whatsoever with it. Of course, apart from that 900p FPS, 900p resolution lock. But again, I'm enjoying the game so much. Honestly, it doesn't bother me one bit. And when it gets cranked up to 1080p eventually, as it should, very soon, again, it's just gonna be a bonus. So there's that. Now, also, just so you know, I haven't forgotten the video series of me and Galileo's playing through Battleblock. I literally have another video uploaded right now. I just have to publish it. I'm thinking of releasing this video, if I can, this Failblog on Sunday evening, and then do the Battleblock episode on Monday. Now, interesting thing, I think I've talked about this before. My first video was just fine, and I think I've got about 30 views, which I'm very happy with. However, my second episode has only received 3 views, which, you know, wouldn't be a problem per se, and it still isn't. However, it makes me believe whether the fact that the video got copyright flagged has anything to do with such a low count. I mean, a few series of playthroughs I've done before, I've never finished them, first and foremost, which is my fault and my own entirely. If the first episode would receive decent views, say 20 for instance, right? The second episode would never get as many, would probably have maybe 10, maybe 12, 13. You know, I have very low numbers and very few videos that I can use as examples, but this is the general tendency I've noticed. But going from 30 to 3 is a little bit peculiar, and I'm thinking whether either people are deterred by the fact that it's copyright flagged, and I think that means that the video has ads on it, or its discoverability is reduced, something along those lines potentially. Again, I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, but these are the facts. Also, what the copyright means in on itself is that basically the company that owns the rights to the soundtrack has claimed copyright on that video, and they don't want anything of it. They are not trying to take it down. They simply have monetized itself on their own right, which I think is a little bit stupid, because the video's got 3 views and amount of money they've received from it is literally less than 0. However, you know, I understand how the process works, and, you know, it's automated, and there's not a person sitting there and picking which videos he wants to claim a monetization on, and so on. And my third episode has also been flagged, the one that I haven't published yet, and I'm wondering whether it's going to be exactly the same case with that one as it was with episode number 2. I've also another, I think, 3 episodes worth of material to already recorded, waiting to be uploaded. After that, however, I am definitely, because we're continuing this playthrough. I mean, I'm slowing up uploading the videos. However, I'm very much continuing the series because it's so much fun. However, from the next session that I have with Galileo's, I will completely turn off in-game audio, as fun as it is and as suitable as it is to the game, and I'll just play something copyright-free in the background to have a little bit of music playing there, but, you know, nothing that will flag it on the bots and make it monetized for the copyright owner. Any other things that I would like to talk about? I'm just thinking right now, you know, not as much. I had a decent holiday, fell sick after, that's why there wasn't a lot of content in the past, 2.5, 3 weeks. No, more like 3.5 or 4 weeks now. But I'm looking to get back on track. Hopefully this new processor and new graphics card will allow me to make content that's a bit more stable, and that is okay for Premiere Pro to edit, as it is gonna be constant frame rate rather than varied. And even if it isn't, the application that I use to convert it to constant will be able to do so just fine. But yeah, I hope everyone else has been doing okay. Hope you managed to skip on that early spring flu that was going around. I think still might be going around. That caught me in it. You can still see I'm still a bit nasal and coughing a little bit, but on a speedy recovery. I'd like to believe so anyways. So yeah, I hope you guys have been doing fine, and I will see you very shortly. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay tuned to my future content, and dislike button is there as well if you didn't. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Take care.